Okay, welcome everyone to my channel. Yes, this is Scareticulous is what I'm calling this channel now. Who knows what I'll call it in the future. I do want to talk a little bit about my Nintendo wish list for next year in 2025, specifically for the Switch 2. So, obviously there's been a lot of rumors and leaks that have been spread around in the past couple of months about the Switch 2. The model has been sent around. People made 3D models of it. They printed it out. They've basically shown exactly what the Switch 2 is going to look like, which does take some of the mystique out of things a little bit. But let's be honest here, none of us really give that much of a crap about what the Switch 2 looks like. We all kind of get the deal, what it's going to kind of resemble. It's going to look like the Switch. It's going to be the Switch, but better, right? It's going to have better features. It's going to have a smoother, more ergonomic kind of style to it. It's going to be sleeker. It's going to be beefier. The screen's already going to be bigger. The buttons are mainly going to be the same. They just added one little button to it, the C button, which people have speculated might have something to do to implement another feature on the Switch, such as maybe like a dual screen kind of thing where you can play the game on your controller setup and also the TV screen at the same time, or perhaps take the game from docked mode into handheld mode, right? Which that could be. It could be, it could not be, right? It could be the chat feature. Who knows what the hell it is? But the point is, that's what people are talking about when it comes to the Switch 2. I want to get into my wish list for the games surrounding the Switch 2 that are hopefully going to be... This is a wish list. Let me just, kind of preface what I'm about to say in this video. This is a wish list, okay? I'm not seriously thinking a lot of this stuff is going to be released. I'm just going to walk you through like what I want. This is my desires for the Switch 2. So let's get into it. Number 10, Kirby Forgotten Land sequel. So, as you guys know, Kirby Forgotten Land was a great game. It's not really an open world game exactly. It's more or less that has the same format as his 2D adventures, but in more of a 3D kind of style, right? You could explore the map in more dimensions. You could, go in more different passageways and, kind of find more secrets that way. And it was a little bit more immersive, I think. And I think it sold really well. And I think a lot of people resonated with that game and they really want a sequel. So, obviously we're going to get a Kirby Forgotten Land sequel, but who knows if it's going to be for next year. I could imagine it coming out maybe in 2026. I don't know about 2025. I think 2025 is going to be littered with some other major contenders that are on this list, which brings me to number 9, Legend of Zelda reboot. So, obviously, they're going to have a Legend of Zelda game on the Switch 2 at some point. Do I think it's going to come next year? No, I don't. I don't think we're going to get a Legend of Zelda reboot. And that's basically what all of these games end up being. They basically reboot the franchise every time they put out a new game on a new console, right? I mean, they could say it's in some timeline or some malarkey or whatever, but we all kind of get it. It's a rebooted universe where we're getting to know these characters once again. So my wish for the Legend of Zelda reboot is that they really kind of take a chance with it and do something different. There once was an idea for a very futuristic kind of Zelda game, and they kind of veered into that territory a little bit with some of the Zelda entries where they had high-tech kind of technology and stuff like that. In Tears of the Kingdom, we did have, some vehicles that we would fly on. Obviously, there was some kind of ancient technology, and that's kind of what the Zelda games kind of focus on a lot of the time. It is ancient technology, right? What if we're in the thick of technological renaissance of a Zelda Hyrulean kingdom at its pinnacle, right? I'm kind of tired of exploring landscapes that are deserted or, they're desolate landscapes, or like, the bustling city was like 100 years ago and it's like now we're just, going through the scraps of it. I want to go through a sprawling universe where Hyrule is totally built up. All the factions are there. Maybe some new factions, let's go into the future with Zelda. Let's do something we've never done before and really take Zelda into the future with like flying cars and buildings and stuff, but in that like same kind of Zelda style, you know, like kind of try to see if there's some kind of evolution we can do where we take Link and Zelda into this futuristic universe. Again, this is my wish list, so don't complain in the comments if you don't like my idea. Number 8, the Nintendo Switch dual screen feature. So this is not a game, obviously, but it is a feature that is rumored to be on the system where basically it'll kind of be like the Wii U, right? Which honestly, I think the Switch 2 is kind of going to be Nintendo's revenge for people not liking the Wii U. It's like, well, you didn't like the Wii U, huh? Well, we got a Wii U right here. We're calling it the Switch 2. Or they just have like a Wii U and they just slap a label Switch 2 on top of it. Listen, I really like that feature I was one of the first people to own a Wii U, and one of the best features I liked about it is that you could play it on your console, right? I mean, this is before the Switch, obviously, and everyone praised the Switch for being so like revolutionary and all that stuff, but the Wii U already kind of had this feature, right? You could play your games on the Wii U, right? Then you could literally just take your gamepad and then go to like the bathroom or the kitchen or the living room or whatever and play the game on the gamepad. And this is a feature that's kind of been on a lot of consoles in the past decade or so. I think even the PlayStation 5 has some feature like that. So this is not exactly a new feature. So I do think this is something that Nintendo probably will end up doing. It's the next evolution of the Switch. It just makes sense to do it. And honestly, I do think it would give the Switch more functionality. I don't know how they would do it. Maybe have like game and like the UI stored on the Switch 2 dock or something. I'm not exactly sure how they would make it work. I'm just sure that they could do it. They've done it before. They could do it again. Number 7, the magnet controllers. Now, this is something that, I mean, it's basically confirmed by the leaks of the Switch 2 model where they have magnets on the controllers. Here's my only request with the magnet controllers. I want to be able to put them on my fridge. That's it. I just want to stick them on my fridge and just be happy about it. I think that's a worthy feature. I think that's something that, just think about it, right? Like, what are you going to do with your controller when you're done with it? Well, you're going to just stick it on something, right? So it's out of the way, right? No fuss, no muss, just kind of just clack it on. And it's, you always know where it is, right? You just go pick it up again and you start playing. I think that's a fine feature. It's one of those emergent features that is not expressly stated on the console, but I do think it has optimum advantage. Number 6, Mario Kart 9, but it has Double Dash features in it. Yes. Double Dash is going to make a return. Or I want it to make a return. I really always loved the Double Dash feature where you could switch players on the fly, where you could have the 2 items and they each had their own separate, kind of items that gave them an advantage in the race. That always gave you like a bit of strategy, right? There's something that's kind of lacking in Mario Kart, and it just feels so simplistic nowadays. And I do feel like there needs to be something to shake things up. And I think the Double Dash feature was one of those things that I think the series should have stuck with, at least as like an option. It should have been something that, we should have been able to have. Maybe it would compromise speed or maybe a limited item menu or something like, but let us have that feature at least. I want to be able to stack the racers. I want them to be partners on the kart. Just give it to us, Nintendo. I want the Double Dash back, okay? Give me Double Dash. Number 5. So, as you guys probably remember, Pikmin 4 came out on the Switch, and it was a great game. Really great. I do think, though, that it does need some DLC. I would love if they just gave us a bunch of maps, like maybe give us like 100 different maps with different challenges to it, and just let us go wild, Give us a few extra modes for multiplayer. Just give us some more stuff with Pikmin 4, and then make it like a dual release where it's available on the Switch 2 and the Switch as well. I think that would be fair for people who already have Pikmin 4 on the Switch, and also they could get it for the Switch 2, where let's say the DLC is bundled in with the Switch 2 release of Pikmin 4. I think that would be a fair thing to do. And then like DLC could just be like $10 or something, or $15 on its own on the Switch for people to just download. I think that would be fair. What do y'all think? Number 4. Paper Mario sequel. I mean, listen, they spent the last year or two putting out Mario RPGs, right? They put out 3 Mario RPGs, maybe 4, I don't know, on the Switch, which is just crazy. It's crazy. It's insane. So why are they doing this? Why are they giving us so many RPGs? Is it just to like shut people up? Like, finally, you get your RPGs. Now be quiet. Is that it? They just want to, shut people. I don't think that's it. I think they're gearing up for something. They want to refresh people's interest in the Mario RPG because they have something else planned. Now, obviously, Mario and Luigi Brotherhood or whatever the hell it was came out on the Switch and it got mixed reviews. I don't think that was their killer app. I don't think that was the thing that they were really gearing up to release. I think that's just there to kind of, wet people's whistle for a little bit, because there is a Paper Mario sequel they want to put out at some point, and I think it's going to be a true sequel to Thousand Year Door. This is what I think they're going to eventually do. Now, obviously, is it going to come out next year? Probably not. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of teaser or something, because it does seem like they were gearing up for something. And I do think that Paper Mario does need to make a return to form. And so that's just, what I would wish to happen. Again, this is a wish list. Don't come at me, bruh. All right. Number 3, Donkey Kong Country sequel. Yeah, a lot of sequels on this. So obviously we haven't seen a Donkey Kong Country sequel in like 15 years or something. Tropical Freeze released on the Switch in like 2013 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but it's a long time ago. And, the series was going really strong. I don't know if returning to that same 2D style would be the best option to do. I also know that overcrowding the system with a bunch of 3D platformers might be a little, redundant for Nintendo. They might not want to make Donkey Kong a full-fledged 3D platformer, although I would love it. And I do think there could be a lot of different gameplay styles that you could do with Donkey Kong that haven't really been explored to the fullest yet. Like vine swinging, the whole capturing bananas thing, and just taking all kinds of inspiration from other sources I think would be interesting. Perhaps, ways to, utilize all the different Kongs to their fullest potential, maybe as a more of a puzzle solving kind of platformer. I think would be interesting. And I do think that Donkey Kong could add a lot of variation to the 3D platformer genre, even like drawing inspiration from, like, let's say Sonic the Hedgehog or something, where Sonic is he's very go with the flow, right? There's a flow state that you kind of slip into when you're playing Sonic. He hops over things, maybe implement like a parkour mechanic or something where Donkey Kong's, he's vaulting over things and he's hitting enemies and he's getting collectibles, and just kind of capture like what it means to be in Donkey Kong Country and play as Donkey Kong. Like, what is that like? What would that really truly be like if it were real, And since the whole Mario Brothers movie was very successful and they have a Donkey Kong Land in Universal Studios now, I mean, they really should capitalize on the Donkey Kong craze and do something really brand new with the concept. I do think that we need to flesh out Donkey Kong's world just a little bit, give it a little bit more of a budget, do something more with it, because I do think there is more there to that franchise than just, swinging from a vine 2D style. Let's do something more with it. Number 2, Mario open world platformer. Now, obviously, this has been rumored for years now that Mario is going to get his own open world game, and I want that. That's basically the idea. I just want that game. I do think there's a lot of potential for making Mario open world. We get to explore the Mushroom Kingdom and all of the different places that Mario goes to. There's so much opportunity for Mario to explore, space and different dimensions. And I mean, the possibilities for Mario are endless, because it's really just one long drug trip at the end of the day, Mario just doing all kinds of trippy things, going to different places, seeing different enemies and citizens of different, worlds, and just kind of trying to blend in. I mean, obviously we had Super Mario Odyssey, and that kind of did basically the same thing. But I think there needs to be something that mixes things up a bit. I would love it if Mario really utilized the green pipes more. because we kind of forgot about that whole thing. And the Mario movie kind of opened up that whole possibility again, where the pipes kind of led to different universes, right? I really do think a new game could utilize that feature in a very interesting way, where we go to different universes, we go to parallel dimensions and, you know, see different worlds and different civilizations and with different struggles, and then see how they kind of all intermingle with one another. Maybe they get mixed up and, you know, universes collide with each other. Maybe something like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, something like that could be really cool. Anyway, so I do think that would be a fun idea. A fun Mario open world platformer could be really fun depending on where they go with it. And I'm just ready for it. I'm ready for whatever they have planned. I know that whatever the features are on the Switch 2, it's going to implement with this Mario game. It's probably going to come next year. I mean, if not as a launch game, it's definitely going to come in the launch window, maybe the holiday season. I could see it coming out in like October, November, or something like that. So yeah, and we'll probably get like Mario Kart 9 to start on the console along with a bunch of other games. And yeah, that leaves one last point on my list. Number 1. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to happen. I know that all the parts are there. There's all these possibilities of how this game could come into existence. And I think that as long as everyone kind of understands their role and does things the right way, I truly think this could happen, and I think it could be a massive success. Because we've already seen what happens when platformers get rebooted. They do make a pretty big splash. They can get a lot of people excited for them. And obviously, you know, these different platformers can reach different audiences and larger audiences on other platforms. And there is one last IP that has not seen a reboot in a long time. There is one platformer that has yet to fully be transitioned into this modern age and given another chance at life in the gaming atmosphere. And that game is, of course, Banjo-Kazooie. I want Banjo-3E, the game that was promised to us at the end of Banjo-Tooie. Now, obviously, a lot has happened in the 20 or so years since Rare was bought by Microsoft. Nintendo obviously didn't opt to buy Rare, and everything happened since then, where we had Nuts and Bolts and Sea of Thieves, and all these things happened since then. But the pieces are all there. I mean, think about it. You have Microsoft that says they would love to work with Nintendo. They're not exactly competitors. They do kind of compete in different, you know, arenas. And Microsoft said that they would love to continue, like, do something with Nintendo, right? And they have the IP of Banjo-Kazooie still, right? It's just lying around. They're not doing anything with it. And on top of that, Microsoft owns Activision. It would be very simple in my brain, unless someone wants to argue with me about it in the comments, that Microsoft could get Activision to make a Banjo-Kazooie game. Because we all know that Rare is not going to do it. We all know that Rare has a certain style, but Rare is different to how it used to be. Let's face the facts, okay? Rare today is not the same Rare from 20 years ago. They have different employees there. They have different people working on the games now. It's just different. Okay, so it doesn't even matter if Rare makes the game or not. It could be some other company with similar devs that have a similar style working on it. They've done a great job rebooting the Crash Bandicoot series and the Spyro series. So no one's going to tell me that they can't reboot Banjo-Kazooie by putting out 2 great reboots, just revamping all the graphics and luscious next-gen graphics and style and all that. You can't tell me they can't reboot the series and make it, you know, this fun reboot for everyone to enjoy, and then make a Banjo-3, which is eventually what would have to happen, right? They could remake the first 2 games and then make Banjo-3. Now, if they could at least just announce that project, and then Nintendo would publish it on their platform, and then Microsoft could also publish it on theirs, to where they're not competing, Or there could be crossplay, because I'm sure there might be some kind of multiplayer component added to it, because Banjo has had multiplayer in it before. I could see the mini games being a big thing to kind of share between them. And then there's spin-offs galore that could happen as a result of this franchise being rebooted. And I do think it's possible to make it happen. Banjo was already in Smash Brothers Ultimate. You're telling me that we can't have Banjo 3, even though Banjo-Kazooie's already literally been in a Nintendo game as of recent, in a new game in Smash Brothers Ultimate? You're not going to sit there and tell me that. So I'm just saying that they have all the pieces lying around, and they can totally make Banjo 3, and there's no reason why they shouldn't, and there's no reason why they can't. So I am number 1 on my wish list is Banjo 3 and all that comes with it. Banjo rebooted, Banjo 1 and 2 remade, rejiggied, whatever the hell it is, with Banjo 3 coming 2027 or whatever, right? Let's make a 3-year plan, right? Where you have 2025 and 2026, the years of Banjo being rebooted fully, and then 2027 has the final chapter in the series, Banjo 3, and just do it. Get in contact with Grant Kirkhope, tell him to do the score, tell everyone to come back to the home operations, remake the game, do whatever you need to do to spit that game out, because I'm gonna be there day freaking 1. Getting that game, and I know a ton of other people are going to get it. The word of mouth is going to be crazy. So get on that right now. So that's my wish list for Nintendo for the Switch 2 for 2025. I mean, I don't think it was too unreasonable. Honestly, the things on this list, I mean, half of them are pretty much expected to be on there. Half, maybe more like 3/4 are expected to be on there eventually, right? A lot of these are actually very possible to have. You know, they are realistic. Whether they're actually going to happen is a different story. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please leave me a like and share the video and all that stuff. And I will see you guys next time on Scareticulous. Thank you for joining me. Later.